The reality is that in Pakistan, if you take a certain political position in the public sphere, such as the television, where I was a broadcaster for some time, or in terms of public engagement or other such highly visible venues, you are likely to run both the ire of the state, because if you hold your own views, if you write or indulge in dissent or disagreeing with what the state says is the truth, then obviously you are marked. And at the same time, in Pakistan, we have this whole issue of Islamic extremism as well, where certain groups are very eager to brand Pakistani liberals and intellectuals and thinkers and writers and poets as un-Islamic or not good Muslims, and unfortunately their word prevails, because if they declare somebody to be fit for murder, some militant group or some other zealot would just go and take the law in his hands. Yeah, I think this line. I'm glad you picked up this line. When it was being edited, one of my editors said, "Oh well, this is, you need to elongate this sentence." And I said, "No, it has to be unlearning." And I'm glad somebody else also noted that. The idea, a lot of Delhi by Heart or the book is also my own discovery. So, while I'm talking about the city and the ancient past and monuments and the shrines or whatever, but in reality, I'm also talking about me shedding off some of the prejudices that I had received from my formal education in school. Since Pakistan's independence in 1947, Pakistan has constructed its identity and nationalism in opposition to India. So everything that India is not Pakistani, and some Indian hyper-nationalists also do that. Everything Pakistani is not Indian. So it's that kind of silly, arbitrary, imagined line which actually kind of challenges almost 1,000 years of history of Hindus and Muslims living together in South Asia subcontinent or Indian subcontinent, and which just one event like the partition of India in 1947 cannot really undo. Okay, it may begin a new process of nationalism, etc. So unlearning was that particular part where I unlearned many prejudices or negative stereotypes about the neighboring country and enemy country. And so this was a travel into this unknown territory, and that's what fascinated me, and hence the book. I realized that it was, as I was working on this book project, it was liberating me. So I was getting out of that word limit nonsense. I was getting out of that political correctness frame, because you write a piece for the paper, that editors are going to read that, or audience is going to read that, the politician is going to read that, and you have to cater to the constituencies. You don't want to make any mistake, you don't want to make any. But here you could make mistakes, you could be yourself, so that was a liberating experience, and the joyful. And now that I'm doing the memoir, and I'll tell you the art of memoir, I'm only discovering since last 1 year that in the US memoir writing is big, because I went to the library to get a few recent books, and all I could find was, oh my God, I said, where to start, where to end, and then there are writers who've written about writing a memoir, the art of memoir, and etc. So for a lot of American kind of memoir writing, I think it is more self-expression of what relates to people in a very first-person way. But for me, this memoir is actually part of my self-medicated therapy and catharsis. I haven't had a chance to actually do that, since I've been here. And so as I'm writing it, it is different from the journalistic, the narrative. It is a totally different genre. It actually touches on the boundaries of, sometimes on the boundaries of fiction, because you go back to your memory of that particular moment or a minute, and your memory gives you certain signal and a certain picture which is often blurred, and then you have to flesh it out. So while you're fleshing it out, you're actually reworking that moment, and that's why I'm really enjoying the style as well, because it is also taking me closer to fiction.